Hello on Media Dialogue TV Extra, War in Ukraine and Perspectives for Ukraine. I'm very happy to meet my old friend and co-organizer of Media Dialogue, Volodymyr Danyliuk, in Lutsk, now in the territorial defense in the west of Ukraine, but he is a journalist in his professional life. And we will talk about how the work of journalists and the future of media of Ukraine will be, and what his paper and what his media is doing at the moment.
In the war period, it's uneasy for journalists to continue their work. Firstly speaking, war is not only about human losses, it is also about the economy, and currently our economy lives through uneasy times. So our media continue our work in normal regime. And while I am currently in army, my deputy chief of our newspaper continue to fulfill his obligations as the main editor. And we still have our media in paper form, like newspaper. We also continue conducting our website, and generally speaking, our media now continue their work. But our newspaper changed a little bit our format, that it was in peaceful time. For example, we started to make special digests about war. And in the wartime, the fate of journalists has tremendously importance. And Ukraine doesn't need only weapons, projects, or money. We also need support for our media, for journalist activities, while we should conduct also informational war and fight with propaganda. And we should pay our attention especially to regional media.
Yeah, this would be my question too. We have on the one side, Volodymyr Danyliuk said, economical problems naturally in war times. And on the other side, the audience needs information, what's going on in the civil society, what's going on the front line, what's going on in the country. And how is, for example, his paper in Volyn or his media in Volyn working at the moment, also financing the run of the media?
So firstly, we have our subscribers who pay for their subscription for the first part of the year. So we have some financial resources for that. But further, we should work on our financial resources and think something about that. And another problem that a lot of people who were our subscribers and who were reading our newspapers, they left the countries and they have not availability to receive our media product. And another financing sources I can say about Ukrainian charity foundations who help somehow to Ukrainian journalists, like Ukrainian community of journalists.
And another question: in the wartime, Volodymyr, we saw you now in uniform, military outfit, as fighting for Ukraine in the territorial defense. And you're a journalist too. How is the army working together with the journalists, protecting them, give them information? How it is organized at the moment to inform the audience, also from the side of the army in the regions of Ukraine?
To say truly, from 24th of February, I am suspended my journalist activity. I am only taking part in our armed forces as an officer. But on the same time, on voluntary basis, I am trying to take part in journalist activity in our Ukrainian journalist community, спілка журналістів, as a secretary, and to help somehow our media. I could say that we have some limitations, what can we talk about and what is forbidden, but it's also worth to highlight that we are not using anymore the Russian informational resources. It's taboo and it's only lying and propaganda. And I can say the same about Belarus resources, because we know about Lukashenko that his media products are the same, with lying and not truth information. But journalists are entitled to visit frontline where are soldiers and armies, but society can receive truthful information what is happening.
I also heard about, I saw it on Facebook also, and in our media here in Germany, that a lot of journalists died during the war, were killed by Russian attacks, were killed by bullets at the front line. What do you think about, Volodymyr, about this danger for the journalists in wartime, and what does the army do to protect the journalists who are reporting about the war situation?
I can't say about the whole Ukraine, but I can say my private opinion. Then when some journalist will conduct its activity in the framework of some military division, all of the attention of this military division will be focused on this journalist and have to make their work safe. Also, I would like to notify that Russian side, we call them Rashists, they have some intentions to prevent the work of Ukrainian journalists, because they want to disseminate panic amongst our society, and not to show the aggression, but only to show what they want to say via their news, and not to allow our journalists to say what's really happening. I also remember our conversation in Kiev with journalists who were working in the occupied territories on Donetsk, and they told that Russian occupying forces, they make some type of hunting to Ukrainian journalists, and now it seems also happening the same on the all territories of Ukraine that are occupied by Russian aggressor.
На українських журналістів для того, щоб їх піддати репресіям.
So from my view, I saw a lot of information from Ukrainian journalists and from war reporting. You're also in the West media, and it seems that the informations coming from Ukraine are much more true, much more valid than other information. I think that is also a sign of this war, that the propaganda machine of the Russian side are reaching limits. We saw it at the shooting at the attack of the Moskva, the battleship in the Black Sea. There they said it was stormy weather, and there was no stormy weather. And so I think it's also important to, even in war times, to tell real things, what are happening, and not to make propaganda more than is necessary to support the own country. Or what do you think, Volodymyr?
Wolfgang, I fully agree with you. And I think that we should not wait for peaceful time, but we should strengthen our cooperation with Western partners and strengthen our counter-propaganda part. And the Russians are very scary of fall of Putin regime, and they have what to lose, and they have a fear that they should be responsible in criminal courts for all their human rights violation, and we should start fighting with their propaganda right now together with Western partners. And I'm really sorry. I have a limited of time, and I should end our meeting.
Що треба зараз братися за роботу. І я дуже перепрошую, але мій час завершується. Ви перекладете у себе завершення, бо я мушу їхати.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Volodymyr, for this information in war times from Ukraine, from a good friend of our partner of Media Dialogue. And I am sure that when it's all over, when rebuilding the press and the media system of Ukraine with the support of the EU and Germany, we will meet again. We will meet again as soon as possible to continue our work together. And all the best for you, all the best for Ukraine. Thank you very much that it was possible to meet you today here on Zoom.
I would like also to thank you and to thank our German government that after some pause they decided to help Ukraine with weapons, and I believe that together we will win our enemy.
Разом ми переможемо.